LK brought up somebody who's on the thumbnail, and I got to tell you, the last few things, and he even said, well, he's only doing special things now, but if you want to bring up a title, one of the last titles he did as a regular, he wouldn't argue, and that is Chris Claremont. The last thing I remember, they did these X-Men Black kind of titles, and he sucked. Oh my God. I think it was the X-Men one, the Magneto one. No. Oh, Mojo. That was possibly the worst of them. But man, these X-Men Black things that they did a couple of years back, horrible, 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 horrible writing. Horrible. And even when you go back to his last regular series, which was Sovereign 7, that sucked too. I mean, it was, you could read it and you were going, okay, that's Wolverine, that's Cyclops, that's Colossus, that's, he just wrote the X-Men in a different damn group. It was ridiculous.
Well, yeah, he might have still been a little salty from having been, forced out of the X books.
Well, maybe so, but he let it show in his work. I mean, and that's something that we've been saying and we've been fighting now. We get it on Twitter. All of the comic book creators, or most of them, some of them anyway, are douches, but we don't need to see your douchebaggery on the page. I'll forgive certain douchebaggery if the book is good. But that's just me. I'm a different breed of cat. That's
your video version of Firefight. You got to get that in.
Right. Well, yes, but it's true. And once again, guys, we're not talking about, oh, this guy said something on Twitter, therefore we hate him. What we're talking about are people that used to be good. And I've got my one that at the end, I'm going to be going off on all sorts of ways. And you guys already know who he is. I just want another chance to rant. This came up because I read Donny Cates' Thor, and I just realized I'm done with Cates. I really am. I think I'm done. I need a new Marvel writer because this one, let's just flip them. It's done. We need somebody from Marvel to come out and say, hey, I'm the big new thing. It just isn't working out. Yeah, you could be a douche and talented. Yes. John Byrne, ladies and gentlemen. All the news stories we've ever heard in the 80s about John Byrne was how much of a douche he was. Or as far as editors are concerned, Jim Shooter, who wrote a great Legion of Superheroes, got a hold of Marvel, and the 80s, his entire run was some of the best comic books we've ever gotten. Unless you want to fight me on that one, Breen.
Are you kidding me? I was going to come back and say, and there is nobody working at Marvel that has written a series of books as well as Shooter's Avengers. So not only was he a better editor, he was a better everything than these guys.
Wow. That's strong words, because as much as the whole reason why we're bringing this up is they used to be good. And Chris Claremont's X-Men defined my generation.
Oh, I don't count him as a current Marvel writer.
Well, okay.
I mean, I'm talking about the bunch that, that you would say, like, when you're talking about Cates and Zdarsky, Aaron, Hickman, and the line forms behind them. I don't think any of them, have anything as good as his, the issues he wrote and the Korvac saga that he also wrote.
Donny Cates seemed to be one of those writers that has only one story to tell, and once that's over, he ain't got crap. That might actually be true for certain, like he'll go, ooh, I've got a great Thor story. So, okay, 6 issues of a decent Thor story. Number 7 wasn't good. And that might be it. He comes in with this one story. Now what do I do? And that's when things go off the rails for him. That might be his problem with it. Say again?
I was going to say, you guys were talking about Claremont before. I was trying to figure out what the books he was writing earlier, because I know he wrote the Gen X, which was like in 2008. That was supposed to be the kids of the
X-Men, not just. I mean,
I'm just saying towards the end of his career.
No, I'm telling you, when I say X-Men, I don't mean just X-Men. That man owned mutants. He wrote damn near everything mutant. That was just his thing.
Like I said, we're going from that alone, him, and even at Claremont's worst day, it's better than Hickman in his best day.
I do not like the new Hickman run of X-Men. A lot of
it's great if you like evil X-Men. That's
a lot of people have pointed to this book or that book for Hickman. I have not found it yet. I haven't found the one that I go, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you
possible.
from
Let me say this real quick, so I'll forget. Sure. But I think Hickman is writing X books. Well, that X universe as it's constructed now, and a lot of the other characters like Thor and some of the other characters in the Avengers, they are writing them for a different kind of audience. So they're presenting them with different kind of heroes. The audience that Marvel has cultivated, they're not really into heroism as much as they are self-aggrandizing, whether it's themselves or in the characters that they read about, because they want to see themselves. So a character that's more impressed with themselves than what they've just done, than being humble about the people they've just saved or whatever. I think you're seeing, it's far more prevalent at Marvel than at DC. They're just the characters are just presented differently than they were when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not that's for better or for worse, in my case, in my opinion, it's for the worst. But other people may see things different, and that might cloud my judgment on how I treat how I think about Marvel writers, compared to their 2020 output versus their 2010 output, if they were there then as well.
Now, LK, real quickly, you said you haven't found a good Hickman book. The probably the best thing anything by Hickman was his FF books that I was selling on the auction. Other than that, I haven't really found anything that's better than that.
That's what I heard too. A lot.
I'll second that. They're very good run.
But as far as currently with Hickman's doing with X-Men, when he did in the Hoxpox books when they showed Myra Whittaker how depending on her which she's thought out all these different branches possibilities. It's funny because when I look at that, and that's one of the best memes you can get, is that Hickman chose the worst role out of millions of possibilities to make the X-Men better. He chose the one that's horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It really doesn't. My example would be Dexter Sawyer, the guy who used to write Red Hood. They could be douches and I'd still love their work. I remember Max Bemis was a douchebag on Twitter, and I thought, you know what, Moon Knight's still good. And then Moon Knight started sucking. I'm like, all right, I'm out. You can't be a douche and bad. But we're mainly talking about people who on the page have just faltered. They just fell. And somebody for me, and this is not the big one, but I have to admit, after Sandman, Neil Gaiman's never captured the magic for me. Sandman was good, and I went back and I've reread some. I've still got some more to go. I'm making to make some videos really that good, but everything after Sandman has kind of been long-winded, almost pretentious. It's like Dalton's coming on.
Dalton.
You think I came on? What? Yeah.
Why must you
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dalton. I know you love the man, but after Sandman, I found Neil Gaiman just to be kind of dull. He did some things I enjoyed. I did like The Death, The High Cost of Living, and all that kind of stuff. I read a few of the American Gods. They're okay. They're fine. But nothing really ever captured the magic that was during that time. Like even Books of Magic, talking about capturing the magic, the original 4 series during that period of time when he was writing, that's okay. But it just kind of peered off. I don't know. It just didn't. You just described most British writers. Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would Alan Moore be like today if he were still writing on the regular? I don't know.
Well,
he gave us a hint this week.
Yeah, he said that it's like, I tried to make a comic book, superheroes better, but nobody wanted to listen. They all made them crap.
Oh yeah, he thinks everybody went the wrong way with. Yeah. But that was the same thing with the. Oh my gosh, if I talk about him, I'm going to end the topic and the stream. But there's another 1980s book that's that is genre defining, and the guy just went to crap. I don't know. He needs to change his last name, Neil. Okay. You just let's
No.
see. Yeah, he did do 1602, and that, you know what? That's the exception that proves the rule, in my opinion. Wine started the second generation X-Men, not Claremont.
You were talking about Moon Knight.
I failed to see why people like his work outside of the Killing Joke. Well, Watchmen was good. I think that although I like V for Vendetta better, I think that's a more deeper story. It just has so many layers to it that
Miracle Man's my favorite story from him. The first 7 issues.
Yeah, I actually got that in a hardcover at Ollie's.
Yeah, Spectre. Yeah, that just to touch on it real quick. That's one of those we talk about, like, if things had been a little different. I like to always bring out, like I said, if Joe Manili doesn't, get drunk and fall on a train track.
Yeah.
If Len Wein wrote Giant Size X-Men #1, do you know why he didn't stay on the book? He didn't have time to do a bi-monthly book, so he got his buddy Chris Claremont to take over. That's how busy he was at the time. Had he not been, what would that have, what would have happened with the X-Books?
Yeah.
Okay, there's one that would definitely, I believe she was on the thumbnail, but
yeah,
to talk about her would have to break your one rule because one kind of led into the other.
But the thing is Gail Simone wasn't good, then she was, and then she wasn't again. I mean, the 2000s, the aughts for Gail Simone were incredible. She did Birds of Prey. She did Villains. She was on Villains United, right?
And Secret Six.
Yeah, and it was just great writing. And then,
what became a thing right after in 2011? Not New 52, but what became a thing is the thing you told us we couldn't talk about.
But that's the thing. Once again, it doesn't matter if they're douchebags on Twitter. What matters is, do they bring it into the books? And she did.
Right. That's my point. She became obsessed with that part of her life, and it carried over into her writing. Some writers can, separate. She could not. And I said, I defy anybody to find me something she's done well in the last 8 years, because I'm not sure there is anything.
Yeah, I keep pointing to that Plastic Man, which I think is
Domino in her amazing
Domino. Domino was boring.
The death-defying devil, or whatever that public domain proper, the Daredevil character.
Yeah, you know what? I love those titles. By the way, I read them. I loved they did. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the crossover they did, but I've got it in trade paperback.
Oh, Project Superpowers.
Project Super. Thank you. And that was really good. But yeah, I read that Death Defying Daredevil, and I was like,
who did real? Eric Larson did well with some of those characters in Savage Dragon before he turned it into Penthouse Letters.
Eric Larson fits that bill, doesn't he?
Look at top bottom. I feel dirty already.
I'll tell you what, I went back and read those first 6 issues of Savage Dragon, and they were not as good as I thought they were back in the day.
Read the middle issues. You'll enjoy those.
I agree. But early Image titles, none of them were good.
No.
They were pretty. That was the design. But a lot of them got better. They became better written. With a lot of the case, like the books that split off into Wildstorm, especially, they started concentrating on writing. But by that time, the bloom was off the Image rose, and no one bought any of the stuff.
Yeah.
And about that same time, Larson put a lot of effort into his writing. And again, but the sales were just gone by the late 90s.
There you go, gang. That's what we have to say about Neil Gaiman, Gail Simone, Chris Claremont, a couple others. Let us know what you think. I know that I'm going to get pushback on a couple of these, but once again, I want to hear your opinion. If you like the video, please click like, share, subscribe. Ring the notification bell if you haven't done it already. If you want to help out the channel, go on over to Patreon. Drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on. Helps keep making videos for you. Like, thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.